The Tri-State Tornado, 1925. The most infamous tornado in recorded history is the Tri-State Tornado of March 18, 1925. This monster remains unmatched in both its length and its devastation. It carved a nearly 219-mile continuous path across Missouri, Illinois, and Indiana, and it stayed on the ground for over 3.5 hours. Traveling at a record-breaking forward speed of around 60 miles per hour, the tornado flattened entire towns, leaving behind destruction that looked like a war zone. Nearly 700 people lost their lives and thousands were injured, making it the deadliest tornado in U.S. history. Eyewitnesses recalled how the tornado was so wide and so fast-moving that it appeared less like a funnel and more like an unstoppable wall of blackness sweeping across the horizon. Scientists still debate whether it was truly a single tornado or a family of tornadoes overlapping one another, but regardless of the classification, its impact is unmatched. The Ellington-Brumley Tornado, 1927. Only 2 years after the Tri-State tragedy, another long-lived tornado struck Missouri on November 18, 1927. Known as the Ellington-Brumley Tornado, it remained on the ground for nearly 3 hours and 40 minutes, traveling a distance of around 123 miles. While not as deadly, it still caused widespread destruction in rural communities, leveling homes, destroying barns, and flattening farmland. For many survivors, the tornado's longevity made it especially terrifying. It seemed to follow them wherever they ran, a dark reminder that sometimes escape was impossible. This storm reinforced the reputation of the central U.S. as the breeding ground for some of the world's most powerful tornadoes. The Charleston-Mattoon Tornado, 1917. Another historically long-track tornado occurred in Illinois on May 26, 1917. This event is often called the Charleston-Mattoon Tornado, and it lasted nearly 7 hours, covering a distance of about 155 miles. Scientists now suspect it was not a single continuous tornado, but a tornado family, a series of twisters forming one after another along the same path. Still, for the people on the ground, it felt like one endless storm. The tornado killed more than 100 people and destroyed entire neighborhoods. At that time, weather forecasting was primitive and tornado warnings were almost non-existent, leaving most families with no preparation or chance to find safety. The Flint Beecher Tornado, 1953. On June 8, 1953, Michigan witnessed one of the deadliest tornadoes in the northern United States. The Flint Beecher Tornado lasted nearly 2 hours, traveling 94 miles and killing 116 people. It was classified as an F5 tornado, the highest rating on the Fujita scale at the time, and it destroyed hundreds of homes in Genesee County. What made this tornado especially significant was its timing in history. Alongside another devastating tornado in Worcester, Massachusetts, the Flint tornado pushed U.S. authorities to take tornado forecasting and public warnings much more seriously. In many ways, it changed how the nation approached tornado preparedness. The Worcester Tornado, 1953. Just 1 day after the Flint disaster, tragedy struck again. On June 9, 1953, the Worcester tornado ripped through Massachusetts, lasting for about 1.5 hours and traveling a 48-mile path. It killed 94 people and left thousands homeless. Many families had never even considered tornadoes a threat in New England, which made the disaster all the more shocking. This event, combined with the Flint tornado, highlighted the fact that long-lived destructive tornadoes were not confined to Tornado Alley. They could strike far outside the central United States, even in places that thought they were safe. The Hackleburg-Phil Campbell Tornado 2011, jumping forward to the modern era, one of the most destructive tornadoes in recent memory, struck Alabama during the 2011 super outbreak. The Hackleburg-Phil Campbell EF5 tornado lasted for more than 2 hours, traveling 132 miles across the state. With winds reaching nearly 210 miles per hour, it wiped out entire towns, including Hackleburg and Phil Campbell, and killed 72 people. Survivors described the destruction as total, with houses swept completely off their foundations. This tornado was part of one of the largest and most violent outbreaks in U.S. history, reminding the world that even with modern technology, nature can still overwhelm human defenses. The Smithville Tornado, 2011. On that same tragic day, another violent EF5 tornado struck the town of Smithville, Mississippi. This twister lasted for 1 hour and 25 minutes, with winds reaching around 205 miles per hour. Nearly the entire town was destroyed, and 16 people lost their lives. What made this tornado stand out was not just its intensity, but also the way it highlighted the vulnerability of small rural communities. Unlike larger cities that might have more shelters and infrastructure, places like Smithville were left almost defenseless against such a massive force of nature. The Joplin Tornado, 2011. While not as long-lasting as some of the others on this list, the Joplin, Missouri EF5 tornado deserves mention for its sheer destruction. On May 22, 2011, it stayed on the ground for about 38 minutes. But in that short time, it caused 158 deaths, making it the deadliest single tornado in modern U.S. history. Joplin was unique because it struck a densely populated urban area, leaving hospitals, schools, and entire neighborhoods in ruins. Its relatively short lifespan compared to others here shows that even a brief tornado can be unimaginably destructive if it strikes the wrong place. The Udall Tornado, 1955. The small town of Udall, Kansas was nearly obliterated from the face of the earth on May 25, 1955, when a powerful tornado of the F5 variety struck the area. The structure remained on the ground for approximately 1 hour and 40 minutes, causing nearly all of the buildings in the town to be lost. A total of 80 persons were killed, and a great number of others were injured among the inhabitants of Udall. The root of damage left by the tornado extended across a number of counties, but the fact that it destroyed a single town is what made it stand out in the annals of history when it occurred. The Gainesville Tornado, 1936. On April 6, 1936, Gainesville, Georgia was the location of yet another destructive long-track tornado. Over the course of an hour, this tornado, which was a part of a wider outbreak, was responsible for the deaths of 203 people, making it one of the deadliest tornadoes in the history of the United States. The event became a defining point in the memories of the region, since it destroyed entire neighborhoods and factories during the catastrophe. Despite the fact that its path was shorter than that of the tri-state or Hackleburg tornadoes, the number of fatalities it caused made it extraordinary. Modern-day EF5 risk. Today, scientists and meteorologists have much better tools to track and forecast tornadoes, including Doppler radar, satellite imagery, and storm-chasing teams. These advancements have saved countless lives, giving people minutes or even hours of warning that past generations never had. Still, the risk of another long-track tornado like the tri-state event of 1925 remains. The right conditions, strong wind shear, unstable air, and powerful supercells can still produce monster tornadoes capable of lasting for hours and cutting paths over 100 miles long. Experts often warn that it is not a matter of if but when another catastrophic long-track tornado will occur. From the tri-state tornado of 1925 to the devastating EF5s of 2011, these storms show just how relentless nature can be. While most tornadoes last only minutes, these rare long-track events push the boundaries of what we think is possible, leaving behind scars that last for generations. Advances in forecasting and early warning systems give us hope, but the history of long-lasting tornadoes proves that there are still forces of nature beyond our control. They are reminders of both the power of science and the fragility of human life in the face of extreme weather.